The fake does not have to be perfect. It only has to be recognizable. That is the uncomfortable truth behind fake luxury. Most people are not walking around with a microscope. They are not checking the stitching. They are not verifying the serial number. They see the shape, they see the pattern, they see the symbol, and in public, that is often enough. That is why fake luxury is not just a product problem, it is a business model. Real luxury companies spend decades building meaning around an object. A handbag becomes more than leather. A watch becomes more than metal. A logo becomes more than a logo. It becomes a shortcut for taste, money, access, and identity. Counterfeit sellers do not have to build any of that from scratch. They borrow the signal, they copy the part people recognize, and they sell the feeling at a discount. That is the hidden playbook. Fake luxury is status arbitrage. It takes the visible signal of expensive taste and separates it from the real cost of luxury. The real brand pays for design, retail stores, advertising, runway shows, celebrity placement, quality control, legal teams, scarcity, and heritage. The fake version skips almost all of that. It does not need a flagship store. It does not need a fashion week show. It does not need a century of brand history. It only needs the object to be close enough that the social signal still works. And that is why the market is so hard to kill, because the demand is not only for the product, the demand is for what the product says. According to OECD and EUIPO reporting, counterfeit goods were estimated at hundreds of billions of dollars in global trade. The 2025 reporting placed the estimate at $467 billion for 2021, and clothing, footwear, and leather goods made up a huge share of seized counterfeit goods. That matters because fake luxury lives right where fashion, identity, and price collide. The first layer of the business model is the luxury premium. Luxury brands do not simply sell function, they sell controlled meaning. A normal bag carries your things. A luxury bag carries a story about who you are, what you can afford, and what world you belong to. The materials matter, the craftsmanship matters, the design matters. But the margin does not come only from the object. The margin comes from the belief surrounding the object. That belief is expensive to create. It takes advertising, it takes cultural placement, it takes celebrities, it takes stores that feel like museums, it takes waiting lists, limited drops, controlled distribution, and prices that make the object feel rare. Real luxury protects the gap between desire and access. Fake luxury attacks that gap. It says you can have the signal without paying the full price of admission. That is the second layer. The fake does not copy luxury equally. It copies the most visible parts: the silhouette, the clasp, the pattern, the colorway, the box, the dust bag, the logo, because the logo is the compression of the entire brand story. It turns decades of marketing into one symbol people can recognize in half a second. That is incredibly valuable. And it is exactly what counterfeiters target. They are not trying to recreate the whole company. They are trying to recreate the moment of recognition. The third layer is distribution. Fake luxury used to feel like something you found on a street corner, at a market, or in the back room of a shop. Those channels still exist, but the modern counterfeit economy also moves through parcels, online listings, private messages, social media pages, and temporary storefronts. That changes the scale. You no longer need a permanent shop to sell a fake status object. You need photos, you need a payment path, you need shipping, and you need enough trust to make a buyer believe the risk is manageable. That is why enforcement keeps finding the same pattern in different places: warehouses, small parcels, market stalls, social accounts, websites, pop-up sellers. When authorities shut down one channel, another one can appear. Europol's Operation Fake Star reported nearly 2 million counterfeit clothes, shoes, and garments seized. OLAF reported another major counterfeit fashion operation involving over 1.8 million items with an estimated market value over 180 million euros. Those numbers are not just crime statistics. They are evidence of a supply chain. The fourth layer is buyer psychology. People do not buy fake luxury for one reason. Some buyers know exactly what they are buying. Some think the price is worth the risk. Some want the look for a photo, an outfit, a night out, or a social setting. Some convince themselves that the real thing is overpriced anyway. And some simply want access to a symbol they cannot otherwise reach. That is what makes the business model so durable. It feeds on aspiration. It feeds on the pressure to appear successful. It feeds on the fact that social media made status more visible than ever. When life becomes a feed, objects become signals. The bag is not only a bag, the watch is not only a watch, the shoe is not only a shoe. It becomes proof that you belong to a certain image. Fake luxury sells that proof without the original price. The fifth layer is trust. The more convincing fakes become, the more valuable authentication becomes. That is why the fake luxury market does not only hurt brands at the point of sale, it creates friction everywhere. Resale platforms have to prove authenticity. Buyers become suspicious. Brands have to invest in enforcement. Customs officers need training, and real consumers have to ask whether what they are seeing is real. In other words, fake luxury creates a second business around proving reality. That is the strange part. The counterfeit market copies the luxury signal. Then the real market has to spend more money defending the signal, and the signal becomes even more important. This is why fake luxury is so difficult to defeat. It is not only a supply problem, it is a demand problem. As long as people want status at a lower price, someone will try to sell it. As long as logos communicate identity, someone will copy them. As long as social life rewards visible symbols, counterfeit luxury will have a customer. The hidden playbook is simple. Luxury creates desire by making meaning expensive. Fake luxury monetizes the gap between the meaning and the object. It does not need to be better. It does not need to last longer. It does not even need to fool everyone. It only needs to make the buyer feel close enough to the world the real brand created. That is the business model behind fake luxury. Copy the signal, discount the status, move through whatever channel still works, and sell the feeling that the customer got access to something they were never supposed to reach. The real lesson is bigger than handbags and watches. When a brand turns identity into a visible symbol, that symbol becomes a market of its own. And once the symbol becomes the product, the shadow version will always be for sale.